Greetings, and welcome to House of R, a Ringerverse podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network. I'm Mallory Rubin. Joining me today, I could squire for her. She could teach me. It's Joanna Robinson.
Oh,
Hello,
my
Jo.
God. Don't you think we could teach each other something?
What a beautiful question, and what an apt one. Heading into A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, we are here to dive into the second and final trailer for the impending Game of Thrones spinoff, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which adapts the Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas that we adore. We're going to don our armor. We're going to hoist our lances. We're going to go frame by frame through this new, wonderful trailer.
Yeah.
Right after this. This episode of House of R is presented by Target. Stranger Things has returned to Target, and it's time to visit Hawkins for the final time.
Step back into the 80s with righteous exclusives like a Funko Pop of Steve and the Squawk Van, the epic Squawk satin bomber jacket, and the Stranger Things You May upside-down capsule shaped like a walkie-talkie.
New items are dropping all season long, so prepare for one last adventure at Target. Before we discuss any Westerosi puppet shows, some quick programming reminders, as always. It's a loaded week.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that you might be gracing us with your presence in the city of Los Angeles, which means we might get a chance to record in person.
How exciting. How thrilling. We've got a couple.
Thrilling.
We've got, because we had to bump this recording from last week, we have actually 3 episodes planned this week.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see.
That's the goal. That's the dream.
So the dream is to do this today. Then we're going to do Best of the Century So Far Fights Edition, finally at long last. But I kind of feel like this is a nice warm up for that, because what is a tourney if not a fight, persevering? And then
Indeed.
Friday, allegedly, Percy Jackson season 2 double premiere. So that's really exciting. And a lot of other good stuff before the year is out. So I'm really excited to get to see you, my beloved, in person.
Me too. I can't wait to be in studio with you. Can't wait to see the beginning of Percy season 2, be back with the son of the sea god, back on Greek Mythology Corner with you. Always a treat. Always a joy. Maybe I'll finally post an Instagram from my recent trip to Greece inspired by the return of Percy Jackson. We'll see.
Ooh. So many cats await people. So much feta, so many cats.
All the pictures will be of cats. The feta pictures were just for you. I don't know if they'll be making it to the gram.
Keeping the feta private. I see how it is.
We'll see. Joanna, it's a lot, like you said, and we've got many goodies awaiting in the back of the month, as you teased. How can everybody follow along?
Listen. If you want to hear my opinions on Avatar Fire and Ash, because I will let you know, I have watched Avatar Way of Water since we last recorded together, as you know.
Yeah.
Follow the pod on the pod playing platform of your choice. Follow us on socials. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on all the other good socials, good and bad socials. And you can email us, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com. We got a couple great emails today. We got a lot of great nominations for the Best Fights of the Century.
Ooh.
An upcoming episode that I do want to make sure I underlined for you folks is we're doing a Best of the Rest episode. So that's any category we haven't got to of your nominations. We'll just do rapid fire sort of list of Best of the Century. So if there's a topic that we haven't covered, because we've only done a few, but if there's a topic we haven't covered that you think would be fun for a Best of the Rest episode, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com. Thank you.
Should we include in the Best of the Rest the best movie theater experience of the century so far? Or do you think it's not worth it because we know it would be us seeing Dune 2 with Fan?
Oh, of the century so far.
Just a foregone conclusion. It's like move over Cap.
I don't know, Mallory.
Move over Mjolnir.
What about seeing Lord of the Rings for the first time? That was
absolutely magical. Yeah. I did that with my dad. I went to all of those movies with my dad and my stepmom, Debbie. Just an absolute.
I went with my high school friends coming back home from college to see my high school friends. So sorry, Van. I think actually you're not number one.
The top spot.
Sorry.
Spoiler warning for today's podcast. We're going to do it the way we always do Thrones pods, and we're going to do it the way we pretty recently, just a couple months ago, handled the first A Night of the Seven Kingdoms trailer breakdown, which is a little opening snapshot, big picture talk at the top. Then we're going to go frame by frame through the trailer. We will be incorporating some book material from The Hedge Knight, the first novella, but it's for context. It's for additional insights. Anything that would count as a spoiler is going to be in a separate section at the end of the pod. We will do another spoiler warning right before we start that section. We'll probably have some sirens in there that terrify you if you're driving, but ensure that you cannot possibly miss that the spoiler section has begun.
Right.
And that's that. I think that spoiler section might be a little bit shorter today, Joe, because we did a fairly meaty one on the first pod. We're not going to every single time we talk about any aspect of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, talk about everything that's going to happen in the future of those characters' canonical lives. But a few of the things that maybe stand out to us or are on our minds after this trailer on the spoiler front, we will hit in that section. Anything else on the spoiler warning front, Joanna Robinson, first of your name, that you feel compelled to note?
I don't think so.
Great. Then let's get to the trailer breakdown for the second and final trailer for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Season 1. All right, Joe, let's start with the opening snapshot. What is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Again, we did a trailer pod very recently. We did one in October. If you did not listen to that pod, guess what? It's waiting for you. You can go check it out right now. But we don't want to insist that you do that in order to have any context. So we will quickly set the stage again, but we're not going to go into quite as much detail as we did on the first pod. This is the new Game of Thrones spinoff. It is adapted from the Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas, which are collected under the name A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Of course, that makes us think of Jomi and Brienne, our favorite episode of season 8 and one of the best episodes in the history of the show, etc. These novellas, which we both love, chronicle the adventures of Sir Duncan the Tall and his diminutive squire, as they like to say in all of the summations. I always love how everyone calls Egg diminutive, and he is. Egg. Season 1 of this show is going to adapt the first of the novellas, The Hedge Knight, which we both cherish. And news hot off the presses, Joe. This was announced very recently. Season 2 is not only coming, it's coming 1 year after Season 1, and it's in production. They're getting cracking on it right now. They're filming.
To make
They're about to be filming.
That Egg stays diminutive.
Exactly. Exactly. We are on the clock. It makes me a little nervous about the likelihood of George perhaps generating a fourth novella at some point. I mean, we were promised many moons ago, we were promised 12. Will we get 4? Will we get 5? I don't know. But the Sword production underway, so that's exciting.
I think the real question... there was a really cute video of Dexter, who plays Egg, shaving his head for season 2. I think the real question is, will George just tell Ira Parker what the plot of those other novellas were going to be so we can get more seasons of Dunk and Egg? And that will just depend. Yeah. Perhaps on future mergers of massive studios and streamers in Hollywood, but also just how well this season does. You know, like if Dunk and Egg is hugely popular, you know, the heat will be on for George to just sort of fork over the rest of the stories. I think that's our best bet at getting more Dunk and Egg anytime soon. So
and something more detailed than. I told you 3 crucial things about how Game of Thrones is going to end. Just in much more detail. Obviously, we have some canon already established.
The dragons come back. Yeah, exactly.
Great stuff. This season, Joanna, 6 episodes. And those episodes are 30 minutes.
Wild. Not enough time.
Just simply wild. This could
have been a movie. Honestly, this story could have been a movie.
Guess what, though? Now we get to talk about it with each other for 6 weeks.
6 fucking weeks. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, man. I'm thrilled. You mentioned Ira Parker is showrunning. We're set.
Yeah.
In time. Basically-ish between the 2 prior Game of Thrones shows. So this is set in 209 AC, this first novella. And that means we're 100 years before Game of Thrones, as they are ensuring that you know. It's not possible to watch one of the trailers, see a poster, see a summation of one of the Comic-Con panels that they've done in any location and not know that this is set a century before Game of Thrones. That's like the real key marker. It's also 80-ish years, nearly a century, but not quite, after the events of House of the Dragon, after the Dance of the Dragons. And that means, as we noted last time, and as Ira Parker in his many interviews has been hitting, there are no dragons. There are dragon puppets. But there are no dragons.
There are horses with dragon helms on them.
There are people with dragon helms, and they look sick, honestly.
But there are no. If you can't claim a dragon, might as well put a dragon helm on your horse, I guess. Arion, good move.
That's exactly right.
Can I hit you with one more BBY? And by BBY, I mean AC.
Please. Yeah.
I think it's also worth establishing here, because we will talk about it a little bit later, is that there was something called the Blackfire Rebellion that happened in 196 AC, so just 13 years ago. And this is like a key Targaryen skirmish between the Targaryens, I guess, quote unquote, proper, and the Blackfires, who were sort of bastards of the Targaryen line.
Yes.
So I think, along with this question we're going to ask ourselves over and over and over again as we go through this trailer, as we go through the show, is what makes a knight. I think the question of what makes a Targaryen is also very key at this time. We've got no dragons. We just had this whole conflagration over and we're watching Targaryens in this trailer. They don't have their long flowing blonde hair. There are no dragons anywhere. So like what makes a Targaryen? And I think that's a really fun question to be asking alongside this knighthood question as well.
Definitely. It's a key question of identity, a crisis. I mean, think of how much of our House of the Dragon coverage on that show so far has oriented around the idea of the relationship between the Targaryens and their dragons. So it is a really fun time period to be spending in the realm, even though, as again, the marketing material and the interviews are leaning into, like the new poster came out right ahead of the trailer, and it's very cute. We have Dunk and Egg positioned, by the elm, Dunk's new shield resting against the trunk of the tree. You could see the Ashford tourney grounds like in the distance. There's the language of the Game of Thrones tail at the top, and then a journey far from the throne. Far from the throne. So like the Targaryens are here. This first story is not oriented around the battle for the throne, but I think you are right to really, really, really focus on that precursor in the timeline. First of all, the Targaryens fucking love a civil war. They just can't get enough of it. They love a civil war.
The Blackfire Rebellion is frankly fairly sick. You don't need to know about it to understand the show, but it is a fairly sick thing that happened in Targaryen history. If you ever want to hear someone talk to you about it for 5 hours, talk to Van Lathan at any given time. He is obsessed with the Blackfire Rebellion. Yeah. But I love this A Journey Far from the Throne tagline for couple reasons. One, it's sort of like, it feels like counter-programming from House of the Dragon. Like you're not really loving being stuck in King's Landing all the time. We're in the Reach. We're not in King's Landing. We're not going to be in the castle at all. We're doing this other thing. And also maybe some counter-programming to the final season of Game of Thrones, which was like, the whole like For the Throne tagline thing that they put out there, stuff like that. So just sort of like this, you will hear the Game of Thrones theme music as you're watching this trailer, but this is just sort of like a not your mother's Game of Thrones story vibe that they're putting in the marketing, which I think is accurate to what we're going to get. So
yeah, I think I agree. I think it's accurate. I think it's a smart way to position the story as like a part of the universe you love and are attached to, but a different flavor, a different energy. I have like a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. I don't want to overstate it and concern troll because it's actually not how I feel about it, but like the tiniest ember of worry about overstating that, given like that the Targaryens are present and questions of like politics in the realm will be a part of this series across seasons. I think this is a good way to be positioning season 1 in particular, though. Joe, on that front, like vibe, energy, kind of just the ethos of the thing. We talked about this last time as well, but for anybody who needs a refresher or is coming to this series with this podcast right now and this trailer for the first time,
welcome.
What feels most crucial to you on the like, what's the spirit of this story front? What do you want to establish for people?
I think the lightness of it, which is captured so perfectly in the trailer, but I think this just, and you can kind of see the dichotomy of the story because serious things will happen, right?
Yes.
And so you have the bright green of spring. We're in spring. The bright green of spring is here, but then we also have like the gray fog of certain beats of the story are also here. So, but overall, it's an uplifting, fun time at the HBO, like in general, in the larger mix of things. And we had so much fun with Baratheon representation, the Laughing Storm himself in the last trailer. In this trailer, it's actually like Dunk is having to carry a lot of Dunk and Egg are having to carry a lot of the comedy beats. But I think they're just wanting to make, it's a 30-minute show. It's a half hour. Like we're having fun in Westeros. And like that's something that House of the Dragon has really struggled with, the comedy and the lightness, which was a key part of why Game of Thrones was so fun to watch. And so, this is like, with love and respect to Matt Smith's Daemon Targaryen, who's one of like the greatest take kings of all time. Like, in terms of like real true comedy, this is something we haven't had for a couple of years. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that there are, as you said, like intense, heavy things that happens. It is a Thrones story. It's not going to be a laugh riot every minute of every episode every week, and I think it is very thematically rich in terms of questions of like identity and who you are and who you can be. What is determined by the name that you're born with, and what is determined through the course of your actions and the decisions that you make, which is obviously something we love in a story. There's like a very Arthurian quality to it in that respect, and just the kind of like adventure aspect of it. I think on the tone front, like in addition to that lightness and the centrality of hope and the pursuit of hope in the story, there's like a charm in the humor too, and so much of that comes from the pairings. And I really enjoyed hearing or reading what Ira Parker had to say about that aspect in particular when it came to like his attachment to the story and to the world more broadly. So he gave an interview to Den of Geek where he kind of went through like they also released, in addition to the poster and the trailer, there are new character stills for the bulk of the members of the primary cast for this season. And so you can see you can see Parker's insights on some of the casting decisions. We'll hit a couple of those as well, and just some of the aspects of each character that feels really core. But this was kind of the tone setter of the rundown. He said, this show, quote, "This show allows us to lean into the thing that I think a lot of Game of Thrones fans love, which is the odd couple pairings. That is essentially our show. Everyone loves Brienne and Pod."
Yep. Fact, yeah. Everyone loves the Hound and Arya. Game of Thrones was at its best when it could figure out who were the two least likely people to be in a scene together. That is my favorite stuff. So like another thing that he's talked about a lot, I think that like you said is very apparent in the trailer, even just it literalized, like we open in Dunk's visor view, Dunk's breathing. We are rooted throughout the show, throughout this story in Sir Duncan the Tall's perspective and his point of view. But it's a story about their friendship and this unlikely bond. The phrase that Parker used in that Den of Geek piece, and I have something to say about that in a second, but the phrase he uses religiously, quote unquote, religiously in Dunk's POV. So yeah, we're not going to be in a room with a bunch of Targaryens talking. That's not going to happen in this. It's like Dunk is going to be, I think, in every scene of this show. So that is fun and fascinating. And it makes sense because there are some like reveals, which again, as we mentioned last time we did a trailer breakdown, we're going to honor what the show has decided to share with its public, even though not everyone is honoring that.
Yes. and definitely not. And we are slightly confounded by it, I will say.
But we're going to try to stick with what the show is trying to hide from you. And it's being hidden from Dunk as well. And so it's just sort of like we're in his POV. That makes sense to me. Also, the Den of Geek aspect, it's a great piece of Den of Geek. And I'm not here to like slight Den of Geek at all. I just think it's interesting when you talk about like rollouts of where you place pieces. There was an Entertainment Weekly piece that accompanied the first trailer, right? Yeah. Our guy, Nick Romano, like, et cetera, et cetera.
Shout out, Nick. Yeah.
But this is not, Game of Thrones was like exclusively Entertainment Weekly. We saw some Time, some whatever, blah, blah. Den of Geek is like the second major location for the Dunk and Egg rollout is so interesting to me. And to me, that means they know that who they really need to get are the diehards because their chances with the casuals are a little low. But if they can get the diehards really into this, then perhaps it'll spread word of mouth from there. So like Den of Geek as a platform for like the hardcore A Song of Ice and Fire fans is really interesting to me as a marketing strategy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the question of whether A Night of the Seven Kingdoms as a television show can at any point animate the zeitgeist and like capture spark some sense of monoculture the way Thrones did. I mean, as we've talked about many times in our House of the Dragon coverage, even House of the Dragon has not come close to matching that. I mean, nothing will come close to matching Thrones at its peak, obviously. But yeah, I think the idea that this is going to be a like smaller but deeply passionate fandom, maybe at the word go, that can hopefully build over time, because if the show is good, I think what the masses, whether they know who Dunk and Egg are now or not, whether they found the trailers compelling, though spoiler, I thought this trailer was fucking dynamite and like could not have possibly been more charming. Really great. Both the trailers have been really great. So my hope is that people are like, oh, when I heard about this, I didn't know if it was for me, but I'm watching this trailer and I'm like, this looks like a fun way to spend 30 minutes on a Sunday night. I am going to check it out. Right. I think what people want, whether they know they want this show or not, I think people want Game of Thrones to be good. I think people want to be in Westeros and to enjoy it. Yeah. And so like, if the show is good, I think you're really smartly identifying something about the initial focus of who to really try to bring in. But like, my hope is that after a week or two, if people are like, this show's awesome. Maybe by mid-season.
I hope so too. I'm just worried because it's not like a tits and dragons focused show that it doesn't have
with
that.
Apologies to Ian McShane.
Yeah, it doesn't have that like classic Ian McShane je ne sais quoi. So I don't know, but I'm hopeful. And we certainly are excited and we'll be covering it and hope as many of you come along for the ride as possible. But
yes. This trailer, as you alluded to, we talked about this a lot, obviously, in our first trailer breakdown as kind of just a core aspect of the story. But this time around for the trailer, it's the core through line of the trailer, that central focus that is so key in the world of Dunk and Egg, in the world of these novellas. This second trailer is like, we're going to show you one of the key, basically the thesis, right? What makes a night a night? What does it mean to be a good knight? How much of that is about prowess in the lists or on the field, what you could do with a sword, what you choose to paint on your shield, right? And how much of it is what you do for the people who need you? And obviously this is like
duty.
At the heart of what we love so much about Brienne's journey and that idea of like the true knightly actions, the ability to fight for the innocent and stand up for what is right. Honor. I mean, Joe, they make you swear and swear. You know, so many vows.
So many vows.
So what is the true north for a knight or for anyone?
Are you saying that someone like Sir Meryn Trant is like not like the ideal knight, but he has a Sir in front of his name? What about Sir Criston Cole? Is that a true knight of the realm? I don't know. It's a question.
Funny that you mentioned our guy, Chris Cole. Please share with the people. One of the great gifts on the internet this weekend, which was a wonderful Instagram reel that kind of sought to connect the three properties, the three television properties. But in doing so, I do think positioned us. I'm like, is Chris Cole the knight?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, who else would you go for in House of the Dragon?
That's the thing. It's like, I mean, he makes sense in terms of like the central characters and famous names and faces. But in terms of the question of what makes a knight a knight, I don't think Dunk should be taking his notes from Chris Cole. Just say that.
So the reason we have a trailer and a Den of Geek interview and all this like new rollout, the stills and this video, stuff like that, is that there was the Comic-Con in Brazil, which is like Brazil famous for your absolute batshit fans. And I love you guys so much. CCXP. And so as part of like one of the things that they showed in the room was this video of our guy, Nicola Coster-Waldau, Jaime Lannister himself, and our guy, Fabian Frankel, Criston Cole, welcoming Peter, Claffley, and Dexter to the sort of like to Westeros and saying like, hey, you know, basically they just had Nicola Coster-Waldau just like say a bunch of his Jaime Lannister lines at the end, which was like super weird.
Yeah, that was really funny.
But it was really, I mean, like, you and I were both so happy to see them, and I thought this was great. But you and I both had the exact same response, which was Gwendolyn Christie busy?
Where's Brienne?
Where's Brienne? I immediately, where is Brienne? Like, God damn it. But it was just like, it was so sweet. And what I loved, like, you mentioned our notes here, like Peter's reaction to like Nikolai, especially because it's Jaime fucking Lannister, you know, like amazing, right?
Yeah.
But I love this thing that Arya Parker said in that Den of Geek interview where he said about Peter, he's such a charismatic individual, but he's also just like Dunk. He's got an inner anxiety about him. When he came into the first meeting, he was like, my palms are sweating. And I'm just like, this is perfect. This is what we wanted. And something we talked about last trailer was this idea that Peter Claflin, who we are like really excited for in this role, is a good deal older than Dunk is. Dunk is a teen and Peter is 29. So it's a different property. But like there is this innocence to him. This anxiety when we're like in his helm in the opening of this trailer, and it's just like he's quaking in his do they call them boots if it's armor? Probably. Anyway, it's
still
just
gotta wear something on your feet.
It's just it's a great pairing of performer and character, and I'm really excited for it. So.
Agreed. I'm really hyped about this cast. I think they've made some great decisions here. I can't wait to see the show, truly. Any other like big picture thoughts on just how you felt about the trailer before we get into the beat by beat particulars?
I think I've already said everything I want to say in a big picture way.
Okay. I'll just say I couldn't have been more thrilled to see my guy Baylor. We'll talk about that as we go. I mean, I feel like these trailers were really like, you got the Laughing Storm centric first trailer. I got Baylor here. We've both got Raymond. I mean, the Beesbury, the appearance in both, wonderful.
I have some questions about your Raymond Fossaway fandom. Anyway, the Baylor. Can you remind me? In the last trailer, you were like, I feel like they're hiding Baylor from us. And I was like, I'm not sure if that's that's intentional. No. You were just like, not hiding. No. You were just like, why aren't we seeing him? And I thought one of your theories was, we're going to get a Baylor trailer. That's what I was remembering. Were you like, oh my God, they did it. They gave me my Baylor trailer that I wanted.
Because he's such an important character in the story. It's like, it was bizarre to me that he was barely, you're like, oh, if I pause at this second mark, I could see him in the background of a given shot. It's like, and we still, by the way, have a couple pretty key characters for whom that is true, even through the second trailer now. Yeah, Darren and Maker most of all. So like, that's remains interesting to me. But Baylor, I was just like, where is he? This is like bizarre, but I do really like.
We're leading with the Laughing Storm.
Exactly.
And then we'll hit you with the Baylor.
Let's get that antler helm as central as we can. Let's get the laughs. And that was a great choice for the first trailer. And I think actually what this like mix of character focus in the two trailers has done is nicely give us like a mix, a blend of different thematic areas of emphasis and focus across the two. So I think we're like well positioned heading into the season to understand what the show is about, what it's trying to do, and what the tone is going to be. I think they've done a good job with these trailers and setting it up. So
I really agree.
I'm excited. All right, let's get to our spoiler-free frame-by-frame breakdown of this trailer.
This episode is brought to you by Target. Heads up, Stranger Things has returned to Target, and it's time to prepare for one last trip into the Upside Down.
Head back to the 80s with rad exclusives like the Stranger Things Season 5 vinyl filled with epic tracks from the show and 2 awesome new Gatorades and vintage look bottles. The Stranger Things Upside Down cooler and the Citrus cooler.
New items are dropping all season long, so prepare for one last adventure at Target.
The first stretch, first 25-ish seconds of the trailer. Ominous music plays, breathing heavily. I'm like, if this were a Netflix trailer, if this were season 4 of Stranger Things era Netflix trailer, this would say breath distends heavily. But breath distends.
What about just panting?
Panting. We would definitely get some panting for sure, no doubt. So we open with the fog and the mist that we grew accustomed to in the first trailer. We're back, and we open with a shot that we have now seen across the trailers a few times. 7 mounted knights waiting in that mist for reasons that will become clear. Joe, even the least, if I may borrow one of your trademarked monikers for our beloved pals, even the least freeze frame Mahoney inclined among the bad babies, among the listening or viewing public, would spot the laughing Baratheon antler helm here.
You could be getting up to get like a drink from the kitchen and you wouldn't miss those antlers. They look great.
Which is like, it's fun and cool to think about just the way that everybody has been styled. But it's like, okay, I know what that is. And this idea
what makes
of like
what makes a Baratheon a Baratheon? Antlers.
Some antlers. So it's not true, honestly. And we talked about this last pod. You mentioned like the Reach, Ashford Meadow, the Reach, the setting for this first season. We talked about this last pod, though. Like, one of the cool things about, even though we have this very different flavor and energy for this novella and this season of TV, is like a lot of familiar families, familiar great houses and names and sigils, etc., will be present in the story.
Yeah.
It seemed as though every lordly house of the West and South had sent a knight or three to Ashford to see the fair maid and brave the lists in her honor. If we read a quote, unless we say otherwise today, just assume it's from The Hedge Knight, the first novella.
Yeah, if Mallory does her I'm reading passage voice, you will know that it's from that. Yeah, I would say the top 3 houses in Westeros are here. It's the Targaryens, the Baratheons, and the Beesburys. Right?
I was going to say, it's just a question of whether you put House Beesbury at 1, 2, or 3. So are you, we know it's the final trailer. They said final, we're not getting another one. Are you like, release the fucking Beesbury cut, or are you like, you fed me with just a shot or 2, which was all I needed?
I need him to have like at least just a couple lines, my guy Bees.
I think you'll get a couple lines.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. 6 episodes, 30 minutes long. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you think that the 30 minutes includes credits? Like, are we talking like 24 minutes of story?
Mando-style credits? I don't know. We'll see. On the like location family sort of thing, another thing that I thought was really interesting to think about, we're here for attorney. That's the time period we're here for. And so I was thinking a lot about House of the Dragon and like how frustrating to many people the time jumps were and stuff like that. We're zooming through years. Yeah. People are getting haircuts to let us know that it's happening. We're recasting, blah, blah. This is just a couple days in the life of these people, which is, just, again, exciting counter programming. So
big stretch for us covering stories set over.
I know. I was just thinking about
a few days.
Yeah, it's actually Stranger Things and
really
The Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah. Joanna, breathing heavily. It's time to talk about the breathing heavily. So we get this like high pitched whistle. Mm-hmm. It's giving head injury and high anxiety. Dunk is the one breathing heavily. I loved this
visor vision, like demo vision.
Yeah, exactly. But I much prefer visor cam to demo cam so far, honestly. The anxious, wide eyes through the slit of that visor. Mm-hmm. As I already said, I think it's a very just smart way to kind of root us in this idea of like literalizing this sense of how embedded we are in Dunk's point of view and Dunk's perspective. For the Steely Pate heads out there, for the book nerds out there, just an incredible dream. So much talk in the novella about do you want a visor? Do you just want an eye slit? There's no visor, Egg pointed out. There are air holes. Visors are points of weakness. Steely Pate had said as much. If you knew how many knights had taken an arrow in the eye as they lifted their visors for a suck of cool air. You'd never want one, he told Dunk.
Steely Pate is the armor who gives Dunk his armor, just for context.
I love Steely Pate.
Steely Pate's great. We're going to see him in the show. That's really exciting. Yeah. Looking at people poring over every frame of this, the number of people I saw who were like zeroing in on one little rivet on the side to be like, that thing better not open. There better be no visor on Dunk's helm or else blah, blah, blah. But
keep part of the canon.
I don't think I think we'll be fine. I think we're set.
We will talk, of course, in the book spoiler section later about the other people who are featured in that row
in the lineup. It's
lineup.
Antlers, yes. It's Duncan, yada, yada, yada.
It's up to you if you want to figure out who else is there at this point or wait for us to tell you later in the pot today. Dunk says go, and then they charge Joe. We see him charging toward the other side, toward other knights, other riders. We're going to get some cool action shots sprinkled across this trailer from this moment, from other moments as well. Lance out on the visor view. Do you want to watch an entire show this way? Does this make you feel like you're like watching through a VR headset? What's your appetite for this? Do you want to keep it contained to just a few key moments?
I am confident that I've told you about the time that I went to go see the Blair Witch Project and got violently ill and at Chili's afterwards. So like shaky cam is not for me.
Not for you.
So
Not for you.
this better be few and far between. And I'm sure it will be.
How much of that had to do with the shaky cam at Blair Witch? Not a film that I have seen, as you know, but I am familiar with the style. And how much had to do with what you consumed at the restaurant?
I didn't consume anything at the Chili's, but before we went to the movie, I did have a white Sobe. And that is the last time I ever had a white Sobe. Let me tell you that much right now.
Oh, those were good though. Those were good.
Forever part of one of the worst movie going experiences of my life.
Yeah, once you have the taste aversion, if something makes you sick, you can't have it again. This is I have a few things that fall on the list for me, but I enjoyed a Sobe back in the day, back in middle school and high school. The green tea, which was basically just, as I recall,
I like the red Sobe,
liquid sugar. Oh, what flavor was red? I don't know if I ever had
dragon fruit or something. Who knows? But like they were like filled with all of these great things. Then it was just sugar water. Yeah.
Well, sugar's a great thing. Delicious. Sure. Great for your health. Who can say?
Sure.
Prince Baelor Targaryen. Here he is, my guy.
This is your guy. I will give you Baelor is your guy, and then we'll fight later over some other things.
Raymond is a shared favorite. A particular Apple Wars aspect that we can't discuss in full has nothing to do with how I feel about the character.
I think it's preposterous for you to try to claim him, but go ahead. Go off.
I challenge the take, but I respect that this is your position, and it would be mine if the tables were turned.
I know it would.
Baelor, played by Bertie Carvel, a shared favorite, a beautiful actor, a wonderful performer. Make you think of The Crown first? What does it make you think of first? Jonathan Strange? Where do you go first?
I go The Crown first. Yeah. I need to rewatch Jonathan Strange. It's been too long.
Me too. I was just thinking that. Yeah. I really need to revisit the text, revisit the screen performance, all of it. So, Sir Duncan the Tall, how good a knight are you? A line and an idea that will be returning from Baelor's mouth and a general across the trailer. Okay, this was a thrill for me. Just an absolute thrill to see Baelor here. Joe, we get like this kind of like the crackling of the fire, a warm interior juxtaposed against these intense battle and tourney images. And this is our first real look at Baelor Breakspear. Targaryen prince, King Daeron II's eldest son. So he is the heir to the Iron Throne at this moment in the canonical timeline. He is the hand of the king as well. And he is a fabled knight. And one thing that I really love about the story is it's not just about what is like Baelor Breakspear's reputation across the realm. It's really hyper specific. He's a legend to Dunk because Dunk was a squire to Sir Arlen Pennytree, who we've seen in both trailers now. And Sir Arlen once faced Baelor Breakspear in the lists and would talk about him to Dunk, like all the time. As brave as Baelor Breakspear, the old man would often say, et cetera, et cetera. There are like lines like that sprinkled throughout. So I like thinking about the fact that he is like a figure in Dunk's, in the lore of Dunk's life before the events at Ashford.
A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about this Baelor Breakspear appearance, right? So, as you note in our notes, not a silver-haired heir to the throne, right? His mother, Mariah Martell, is Dornish. Martell, ever heard of him?
Dornish. Dornish.
I do think they put some tanner on Bertie Carvel here, but in general, he's not Dornish enough for the people who want him to be Dornish, and he's definitely not Targaryen enough for the Targaryens of the realm who want him to be more Targaryen. His brown hair. Something that I thought was fascinating that a lot of people latched onto is they gave him, Bertie Carvel doesn't have this, they gave him heterochromia, which is 2 different colored eyes. And I was seeing this all around on like Twitter and stuff like that. And then I was zooming in, I was like, I'm not sure. But what it turns out is that the actor Oscar Morgan, who's playing Prince Valar, who is his son, actually has heterochromia.
Oh, interesting.
So they put a contact in good old Bertie Carvel's like left eye to make him match his son's mismatched eyes, which I really liked. But as like I thought it was like a nice Alyssa Targaryen, who we saw in a memorable dream sequence in season 2 of House of the Dragon, also had heterochromia. But this idea that like the mismatched eyes this idea of the Targaryens with their purple eyes, which has not been really a thing on the show, but this idea that like that this half Dornish, half Targaryen would have one blue eye, one brown eye. I just kind of really liked that. But this idea of like a Targaryen who is too Dornish to be a real Targaryen inside of this era of what makes a Targaryen a Targaryen, like I think is especially interesting. Like he's a war hero, right? Like you know, at the Blackfire Rebellion, he and his brother were warriors. They were war heroes. Does Bernie Carvel look enough like a warrior to satisfy people? Is a question as well. A former famed warrior, but I just like this idea that like, you know, we see him in the scene. He's got this, Bertie has this great voice. It's like really the like sort of
so soothing.
Richard Dormer, Stephen Delane, Game of Thrones actor I could listen to read me the phone book sort of history. And he has like such a great presence. But this idea that he is like, and this whole question of why so many Targaryens are at this tourney in the Reach at this time. As you mentioned, the houses are sending their representatives, but there's so much, this place is lousy with royalty.
Oh, yeah.
And again, that sort of speaks to this insecure time in the Targaryen reign of like, they have to show up at this dumb tourney for a 13-year-old girl. Like, is that what we're doing? So Baelor as the sort of essence of that, of like not silver-haired enough, calling into question the Targaryen supremacy. They don't have their weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
You know, he's not a product of incest. Is he really a Targaryen? Is a question many people are asking.
Relatively, all relative. The Targaryens, relatively lighter incest period for them. Thank you, Raymond. But still, always top of mind with the Targs, obviously. You know, the like, how recognizable is a Targaryen immediately based on the signature hair, et cetera. The idea that he favors his mother being like a real talking point and identifying aspect. I love this. It's one of the things that makes him as a Targaryen figure across the history of the realm so interesting to me. And yeah, to your point about just like, why are they all here? Why did they arrive? Obviously, this is something that like Dunk will be. I mean, we see it in the trailer, just the wide look in his eyes as he watches. Not just a few people arrive, but an entire fucking whole procession, right?
The banners.
Sigils and banners flying. So it's like a whole thing.
But it's interesting to think about Baelor in contrast to Arianne, who we will talk about a bit more later. But like, that's a character who comes with all the like that just screams Targaryen, right?
And to make her his brother.
Anything I could put a dragon on, I'm going to put a dragon on. Yes. And there's this line from the book, right, when he sees Arianne for the first time. Dunk thinks that beautiful stripling was a prince. He had no doubt. The Targaryens were the blood of lost Valyria across the seas, and their silver gold hair and violet eyes set them apart from the common men. So like Baelor doesn't have any of that. So what does that make him is a fun question.
I assume that they'll do this scene in a very similar fashion because as they've kind of outright discussed and said, but also it's just as apparent from the number of like direct quotes and lines in both trailers that are just pulled right from the page. This is going to be a very faithful adaptation. That seems clear. You know, George is like, I love it. Tells us it's a very faithful adaptation. But like, you know, this fact that like the first time Dunk sees Baelor, he's not clocking who he is, right? So to your point, like it's just all a really fascinating aspect of like who the larger question of like, what does it mean to be a part of a certain family or to carry a certain name or to occupy a certain role in the realm, et cetera. I think to that question you posed on behalf of like some of our bad babies who wrote in, and I remember this even dating back to like the casting announcements when Bertie was announced that this was a talking point of like, wait, are we going to get that like, I am one of the most famous knights
warriors
in the realm, warriors in the realm aspect. I would say two things. One, I think there are a number of performers over the history of Thrones where if you just saw that they were cast to play someone who was supposed to be a fabled warrior, you'd be like, and then you put on some armor or you like get a story about what somebody did in their past life in some sort of great battle and like, who knows? But so I think it's entirely possible that Bertie is able to like convey that aspect of who Baelor is. I would say that if a choice had to be made, if it's a matter of a sliding scale, it is much more important in this season of TV, in where we are in the story, to capture the other aspects of his aura, which is, this is like a person of consequence, and you feel that, right? Like the idea that there is just a heft to him, and that there is a measure and a balance to him. You know, one of the other quotes from the book is, Sir Arlen, he told me you were the soul of chivalry. This is something that Dunk says to him. So I was really fascinated to see in that same Den of Geek article what Ira Parker had to say about casting Baelor. He said Baelor was very tricky because the way he was written on the page, you worry that he's just going to feel bland. I will interject here and say that is not my experience with it at all. I think that's frankly like kind of strange to say, but I
can see it.
I understand what he might mean.
He's not a flamboyant Targaryen,
right?
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
He's not giving you the plumes and the flair, and he's there to be measured and thoughtful.
It's more Stannis-like, you know what I mean? Like not quite Stannis, but it just in terms of that sort of like honor, duty. You know, there are people who don't cotton to Stannis the way that I do, so I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he's driven by logic and reason and a sense of something other than how sick does
he's warmer than
my
Stannis,
helmet.
I will say.
Yes, I think certainly. Yeah, that was actually probably our hardest, most complicated search. The quote continues. Birdie is one of the greatest working actors today. He came in and he gave it that little edge and bite. So you effortlessly believe he is the one in charge. That is not easily done. But to be reserved and thoughtful and kind and honest in his approach while also being a big dog is hard. So I think that second part of that quote kind of nicely captures what they were trying to go for there.
I have a proposition for this show that's already done and has been shot and is ready to go. It's not too late to do this. If you haven't already. So Baelor Breakspear and his brother Maekar were famously fought together in the Blackfire Rebellion. The hammer and the anvil. Baelor being the hammer, Maekar being the anvil. There is a song called The Hammer and the Anvil that exists in Westeros. I demand someone sing it. Someone sing the Hammer and the Anvil song in this show, just to let us know what badasses Maekar and Baelor were.
Will we have room amid the puppet shows for additional acts of theater?
There's always room for a song. There's always room for a song.
I think that's a good mantra.
We should say Maekar and Baelor. Maekar we have not really seen in the trailer, but they released an image of him played by Sam Sproul. These brothers, their dad is kind of a wimp and people don't really respect him. So that's also tough times for the Targaryens, I would say.
You'd think if your moniker were King Darren the Good, that was like praise. But in Westeros.
Maybe to quote Ira Parker, they're worried that he's a little bland. King Darren the Good.
Man.
They don't have a charismatic Targaryen king on the throne right now. They got a little bit of a wimpy guy, and these are his two sons who are badass warriors from the Blackfire Rebellion.
Yes, so. And he has other sons as well, Aerys, Rhaegal, etc. But the central figures in our story for that the Darren the second sunset are going to be Baelor and Maekar. Joe, the response in this stretch of the trailer to Baelor's prompt of "How good a knight are you?" is Dunk saying, in a really assured kind of like, I'm going to prove it way, "You'll see." Then he immediately can't find the exit in the way out of the room. This way, that way, it's this way. So we get the humor, we get the goofiness, we get the sense that like, this is not the kind of thing, even though Dunk was Sir Arlen's squire and has traveled and been around great lords and has seen many things, this aspect of like, I am here to tell you that I am a knight. I am going to enter my name in the lists. This is all new to him, right? There's a real fish out of water aspect to our beloved Dunk the Lunk, Dunk of Fleabottom, presenting himself as Sir Duncan the Tall. And this idea here of what makes a good knight that question that we already talked about at the top today is obviously like very central here, but is going to be present in basically every beat of this trailer from this moment onward.
What do you make of the 7-pointed star window that is behind Duncan in this, like very prominently behind him in this scene? Obviously, they're at Ashford Meadow, so this is like, you know, the inner decor is Ashford. You know, it has nothing to do with Baelor or Dunk or anything like that. But like positioning the 7-pointed star here, I think is really interesting, especially again inside of this question of like what makes a Targaryen. You know, Damon would say it's not the 7-pointed star, but you know, this is part of the Targaryens, like, especially if we're gonna get Raymond Fossaway later in this trailer say like the Targaryens are aliens.
Yeah.
But adopting the faith is part of the way in which they tried to like make themselves palatable to Westeros. So I don't know if that's there for that or just because they thought it looked really cool. It does look really cool, but I just thought that was interesting detail.
Yeah, and I mean on the incest front too, obviously that's the not that the members of the faith are the only people with notes, but that's like a great source of tension across Targaryen history as well. And this idea of Targaryen exceptionalism and how they justify their incest, et cetera, is fascinating. So yeah, I think it's kind of like all in the mix together. Even, you know, that idea of like, okay, well, he's not immediately Baelor immediately recognizable or Valar as a Targaryen because of the distinction there. I will note once again, we do see Valar Moorhead on in this trailer. I do not see the one streak.
I saw.
Do you see some?
I saw a freeze frame elsewhere. He's like standing behind Arian's horse.
You see a streak of hair?
It's in the back. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, the back is actually a great place to put it. I like that. There. That's a good choice. Like a little spot. Wonderful. Okay, that's exciting. But like, okay, so this question of Yfe versus mother, the Dornish, is interesting because like the push-pull, how you're moving the levers on the pulley system to say whether that's a feature or a bug, depending on your perspective and point of view. But like the idea of bringing Dorne into the fold is obviously this elemental, crucial, seismic aspect of Targaryen history. Who could do it and who couldn't? And so something that like other people might look at and just clock based on hair and say, well, what does this tell me about who you are? Not everybody's thinking about what that actually means for the stability of the realm. And so everybody's bringing a different degree of awareness. So I think you're like...
Their wimpy dad established some like... stability by making an heir with a Dornish woman, you know? It's good politics.
The like 7-pointed star, I think you're right, is another interesting thing to be thinking about just in terms of who is bringing what to a given association. I think for the viewer at home, it's just like, it's recognizable iconography. It looks cool at a basic level. It gives us that. In terms of its positioning, maybe in a what seems like it will be a key set and a key location where some significant conversations are going to be taking place. Having that looming above and behind everybody as like a specter of another question of morality or how you may judge or view that is a good bit of set dressing.
Do you think that's just Lord Ashford's office and he's like, the king wants, or the heir wants it. The hand of the king wants it. Okay, it's Baelor's office now. Like, is that where we are?
Yeah, I mean, I think they basically like take over when they even if they don't want to. They're like, you know, the people who they're visiting are forced to
pavilion tent. It's like there's like books on the wall. It's somebody's office that he's just like, it's mine now. I'm Baelor Breakspear. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, it's maybe everyone's just operating about around where Plumber is, you know? Let me say this.
Great transition.
As we've noted, we've not really spent time with Maekar or Daeron in either trailer, but we have gotten Plumber in both. And while I would say the heart longs for some glimpses of other characters, I can't quibble with giving us Plumber in both trailers. This is like
because you're ready to join the Ebony Maw Hive. You're all in on Tom Von Lawler, the actor who plays Plumber. Also,
you know
Ebony
how
Maw.
I feel about that fucker Ebony Maw, and I'll always feel that way about that fucker Ebony Maw. But I am loving Plumber. I'm loving the Plumber vibe. So the 28 to 35 second stretch of the trailer after we get a tale 100 years before Game of Thrones, Dunk says, came for the tourney, and Plumber, who is Lord Ashford's steward, says, tourney is a contest for knights. You a knight? Joanna, does this feel like a key question in this trailer and in this television series? I'm no farmer, Dunk says. And Plumber says, and frankly, this was rude but sick. Yeah, you've come dressed as one. This guy, this dick. What a dick he is.
I love him.
This idea that Dunk needs to prove himself, right? Needs to prove himself. He's there in these like rough spun clothes. He doesn't have his own sigil yet when he first arrives. We talked about that a lot last pod, that process. He's got to go get armor made. Like he doesn't have these things, these visual identifiers that people would expect a knight to have. And he is a hedge knight, and this will be a crucial part of this.
I also think it's really fun on Accent Watch that Plummer has this like West County classic farmer accent. He's not like, he's not like got a high-born accent. And so, but he's like, whatever sort of edge I can get over anyone else, I will leverage it. And I love that when that happens in a Thrones story, where someone's like, I might not be a lord, but I'm more important than you are. And I'm going to make you know that I am, because I hold the keys to the castle in this particular case. So, yeah.
I love that. I can always count on you for Accent Corner.
If I'm wrong, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com, but I believe that's a West County accent.
The topic not only of like, are you a knight? Are you a good knight? But like literally, are you a knight, right? Because he was a squire and then Sir Arlen died. We've seen Sir Arlen in the grave. That's not a spoiler. They're making that very apparent. That's like the beginning of this journey, is that the knight that Dunk served has left this immortal coil because of some rain and a cold. Tough. Also, he was very old. And we know from Thrones, Joe, one of our favorite scenes, Jomi knighting Brienne, our beautiful pals assembled by the hearth. Any knight can make a knight. And so Dunk will be telling this tale to people. Sir Arlen knighted me. But he's got to tell him. He has to be the one to say, no, believe me, I'm a knight. Let me explain to you how that came to be, because this is not something that anybody else witnessed. We'll be talking about that throughout the season. Anything else you'd like to say about our guy Plummer here, or this moment in the trailer?
No.
Okay. We get a quick glimpse here among the shots of Ashford Meadow, the many in attendance of Stefan and Raymond Fossway, who are sparring. We saw that shot previously as well. Raymond is going to be centrally featured in the trailer moving forward here, so we'll put a pin in that for now and come back to him soon.
That's straight out of this is like one of the first things that Dunk sees when there's a passage about the two of them sparring with a great line that I'm actually not going to ruin because I hope it's in the show. So I'll save it for that. But yeah, the Fossways fighting is like, that's a book moment where like, oh, here they are, the Fossways. Yes.
I love it. 36 seconds to 46 seconds. Egg, our guy Egg, offering his services here. Sir, I can squire for you. You can teach me, sweet little Egg.
If you were going to do the little piping voice, I was going to insist you do it again. I can squire you, and you can teach me. Question for you. Really important question.
Yes.
When you saw little bald-headed Egg in his saffron-colored robes, sort of doing some martial arts robe sweeping around, sword dancing.
Yeah.
Were you like, oh, it's Aang. This is Avatar: The Last Airbender, because that's exactly what it looked like to me, and I have seen it said a million times on like nothing is much Aangier, and it's not even like the actual live action Aangs that they have cast in the various live action adaptations of Avatar: The Last Airbender have looked as much as Aang as Egg does here. So
I did have this thought. Listen, a shaved head on a young child who is spinning around. It's going to give Aang no matter what. There's no arrow in the middle.
Did they need to make his robes that color, though? I don't think they did. You know what I mean? It could have been anything. So
it's true.
I feel like they're leaning slightly in that shot. I feel like they're leaning slightly in.
I love it. I'll never complain about an Avatar association. That sounds great. Were you surprised at all, Joe, that I thought this was a little bit of an Egg light trailer, actually.
Well, I think maybe they were worried about, losing people who don't like kids and things. Van Lathan.
Is this too much pluck?
The pluck contingent, the anti-pluck contingent. But again, to your point about having the Laughing Storm and Egg be so central, and Tenzel be so central in the first trailer, and then you've got Raymond Fossaway and Baelor Breakspear in this trailer. I think it makes sense to me that like Raymond Fossaway is the sort of like sweet, innocent sort of representation, and it's okay to dial down the Egg a little bit. Go a little Egg light here. Watch your cholesterol, I suppose. I don't know. But speaking of protein, all right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Every night needs a squad, and you look like you need one more than most, right? And then Dunk and Egg are sharing what looks to me like a sandwich. I think their Sammys are like a meat pie or something like that. Like not just hunks of bread, but like
not just a heel of bread, not just a dry heel of bread.
Like maybe some actual mutton is on that Sammy.
You think there's some meat? You think there's some gravy?
I think we're protein and carb loading, But what I love about this, the two of them sitting under the tree here.
It's such a great visual.
Is Dunk is sitting with his knees bent and his pants, Dunk in the tall, his pants are like slightly riding up. They're, so that you're seeing some like bare shin above the boot. And it's just like this, we talked about this in the first trailer. Duncan has to put a rope belt around himself to wear Sir Arlen's sword because he's just too big and too tall to wear Sir Arlen's belt, to wear his armor, to wear anything like that, right? Yep. And this idea that like Duncan is tall and poor, and so does not have pants that really fit him, and is wearing these like short pants that ride up and bare his shins to the cold spring air is, I think, a really beautiful detail that we see here.
I love that. It's a great observation. Also, maybe he's just really on trend. For a long time, the guys would get out of the limo for like the first episode of The Bachelor, showing like a lot of ankle.
Well, ankle is one thing. Ankle with a sockless loafer is a completely different look.
But you think once we go to mid shin,
bare shin is that's a different proposition.
And he's not rocking a capri as like a style.
No, this isn't like
hasn't been able to go shopping yet.
Clooney at the Venice Film Festival. This is I've been wearing these pants since I was several inches shorter than I am today. So yeah,
it's a great observation. I love the look he gives to Egg when Egg's like, you need one more than most. There are so many great little visuals paired in this sequence. We had like a lot of that in the first trailer, the like, I'll hunt you down with dogs. Like you don't have any dogs, but like you get it still, even just in that one passing glance, like you're going to talk shit to me? You small child, really? I like that. The state that Dunk is in, to your point, is really well captured and presented here. But also, like, even though Egg is not the necessarily like runtime co-leader of this trailer, the way he maybe was the first one, we get the thing we need, which is like his tenacity, his zeal for adventure, his specific quality. The fact that he is unafraid to say something to
cheeky.
Yeah, he's cheeky to a grown, very tall man right in front of him.
A man too tall for his own pants. Yes,
a man too tall. Should that be the tagline on the third poster? They said it was the final trailer. I don't know if they said it was the final poster. A man too tall for his pants. What do you think?
Anything better than spring is coming this winter, spring is coming, or whatever it was. Anything's an improvement. So, yeah.
Great stuff. We then get a new HBO original series, and then we go into the stretch from the 48-second mark to 105, like a hedge knight. Let's talk about what it means to be a hedge knight. So we hear Dunk say, Sir Arlen raised me to be a true knight, not with sword or lance, but with honor. And I swore that I would. And we see Dunk digging Sir Arlen's grave. I must note, is it fair to nitpick in a very upsetting moment in somebody's life? Maybe not. Dunk is quite strong, and that is a really shallow grave.
And as
we
need
to dig a little deeper.
The spring rain had softened the soil. And
softened the soil. Come on, this is too shallow of a grave for Sir Arlen.
6 inches, honestly. Yeah. I don't disagree.
Always great to see the horses. Get a nice view of Thunder, Chestnut, and Sweetfoot here looking on. And we see Dunk taking Sir Arlen's sword, examining it, and then now it is his, and that is a lovely thing in a sad time.
Here's a line I love for the book. It fits my grip as well as it ever fit his, he thought to himself. And there is a tourney at Ashford Meadow. Just, here we go.
So
we're going for an adventure.
Let's ride forward. I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of adventures.
And horses.
Dunk is going to ride into Ashford. And there are a couple women. Because there will actually be a few women in this show, though only a few.
Right now, they do not pass the Bechdel test because they are talking about Dunk, but dare to dream.
Here's what here's the exchange we're treated to in this stretch. What's this? It's a hedge knight, ain't it? What? It's like a knight, but sadder. And then Dunk says, "Too Sweetfoot, I'm not sad," which is just remarkable. Joanna, tell me what this made you think of.
Well, what this made me think of is that I have such a soft spot for people who talk to their horses.
Yeah.
Number one with a bullet, horse talker is Prince Philip in Sleeping Beauty, in the animated Sleeping Beauty. Just like really important relationship between a hero and his horse. But Aragorn, you know, like
Sure,
if you talk to a horse, I'm like pretty into you. If you're like talking to your horse like it's a person, I'm even more into you. So just sort of like, I'm not sad. Too Sweetfoot, his white palfrey horse is so adorable.
We talked about this last pod, but the fact that like Sir Arlen really cared for, no matter how tight the coppers were, really cared for the horses no matter what, and the Dunk thinks of them the same way, despite the lesson of like, don't get attached, because I don't need to say why. Obviously, we know what happens to horses in Game of Thrones in Westeros, but that Dunk can't help it because he has a big heart. I love that. It is another great quick bit in the trailer to just tell us something about who he is, like as a person. I love it.
Mallory has requested via our notes that I read this next passage. I don't know why she doesn't want to read it, so I will read it. He had never lain with a woman, and for all he knew, he might die in his first tilt. Tourneys could be dangerous. But whores could be dangerous too. The old man had warned him of that. She might rob me while I slept, and what would I do then? When the red-haired girl glanced back over her shoulder at him, Doug shook his head and walked away. Too scary, ladies, too scary.
Ladies of the night. The reason I wanted you to read that is because you sent me a screenshot of this moment from the trailer, and so I thought that you wanted to read it.
Oh, I want to talk about her wig.
I thought you wanted to talk about Dunk, famous virgin, which of course is always on our minds as well, in addition to Wig Watch TM with Joanna Robinson TM. Take it away.
No, this woman has like but it's fine. She just has the most preposterous wig you've ever seen. But I think she's canonically supposed to be wearing a wig, so that is fine.
Good stuff.
But yeah.
A lot of people fucking up a storm at Ashford, you know?
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, the market town. It springs to life overnight.
Your life is on the line.
That means puppet shows. That means brothels.
Yeah, it means two things. Puppets and fucking.
Well, I guess three. We know there are some delicious sausages, but I guess that applies to the other
sandwiches,
thing as well.
Puppets, and fucking.
Great. Sign me up.
I think that's honestly what Leslie Knope said were the three most important things: sandwiches, puppets, and fucking. So,
great stuff. Another thing that is very effective about this little moment in the trailer is like this idea of the hedge knight. What is a hedge knight, right? So it's not just like plumber when Dunk is trying to enter his name into the list. He's like, "Are you a knight? Like, what's going on here?" It's all of these people. It's other lords. It's the people in the market town. Everyone is going to say to Dunk, like, "What's your deal exactly?" And this is a crucial aspect of the story.
Why don't your pants fit you? Well. Are you one of those hedge knights I've heard so much about?
You didn't list shopping for a new wardrobe and the most important things in life just now, though Dunk will be doing some shopping.
He will
certainly.
Be doing some shopping. Yeah, absolutely.
This idea of how the realm thinks of, talks of, views, considers the hedge knight, and how cognizant of that reputation Dunk and Sir Arlen before him is a really core aspect of this. In part because of the way it motivates Dunk to want something else, right? This is like there are two sides to this coin, because there's a like embrace of the what can be a sacred aspect of life as a hedge knight, which we'll hit in a second. But the other side of that is like Dunk is driven. We hear him say it in the trailer, right? If I could, because in this next stretch of the trailer, if I could call myself a champion, some great house might take me into its service, perhaps even House Targaryen. There's this line in the book, "This chance will never come again. I must risk all."
I love this as establishing these are the stakes for Dunk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
If I could call myself a champion, some great house might take me into a service, perhaps even House Targaryen. And how that ties into the hedge knight aspect is so interesting to me, because it's like, for glory is why some knights do things, right? To further burnish their legacy,
famous name,
to get more pages, in the White Book, et cetera, like what is the motivation here? And for Duncan, it's just simply, honestly, survival, right? How am I going to make it to the next day?
Yeah.
Well, if I can become a champion, maybe someone will let me, in their service. That's it. That's all I want. So that I can feed my horses and myself and this little boy who has attached himself to me. So
yeah, so I can pay for my new armor.
Yeah.
So I can figure out how to take the next step because the person who decided what the next step was, Sir Arlen, is gone now. It's the first time I've had to decide that for myself. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like to the earlier point you made about them aging Dunk up, obviously that's like no new thing in a Throne story. They've done that with a great many of the characters, but I think in this respect, it kind of heightens that for Dunk too, the idea that he's further along in his life. He's not 17, but it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm the one in charge of my own life.
And now there's like a small child who is looking up to me for his next sandwich. Oh no.
For his next heel of bread, hopefully full of meat and gravy. We'll see.
You think it's a dry, crusty
I will say the bite. The jaw strength needed for the bite.
I don't think you hold a heel of bread like that. You hold a heel of bread with one hand. If it's a sandwich, you use two hands, which is what they're doing.
True. What if it's so stale that they needed two hands just
to
for
like
the
tear
grip?
it off?
To be able to tear. Yes. I'm ready to see like a roasting of a fish. Is it raw on one side? I'm ready for all of the culinary pursuits that await.
Tanzel too tall, Duncan two hands. Sounds right to me. Yep, that was for you.
Phrasing.
It was for you.
Samar. Great knights did not live their lives in the hedges nor die by the side of a muddy road. That will not happen to me, Dunk vowed. I will show them that I can be more than a hedge knight. This is one pole of Dunk's psychology, of how he is thinking about this. But what's the other side of it? Read this passage last pod. This one is my early pick for passage I'll probably read the most over the course of covering the show.
Well, also
so foundational.
Potential Sir Arlen flashbacks, which we've been wondering if they were going to do, right? So
you think at any point, and if we see a flashback at any point, it'll be like, should I die? Please make sure the grave is deep enough if the soil is soft. I know you'll be juggling a lot, but should I catch a cold on the morrow? We don't know. This is something else Sir Arlen's always saying. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Should the morrow bring my death? Please dig me a grave that is not too shallow. It's like my only ask. No? You think that'll be in one of our flashbacks?
Maybe.
Wait, so where are you on your theory from last pod that we might get like this story told to us from...
Oh, right. In the laughing storm scene?
Yeah.
I still like that theory.
I like it for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you think... Maybe that's why they can't show us more laughing storm in this trailer, because it'll be so apparent that he's just like sharing the tale. A hedge knight is the truest kind of knight.
I mean, they're getting
the old man had told him.
Trashed together. Like, that's what's so clear about the laughing storm.
What will they be drinking? Spiced wine? Mead? Ale?
I have so much mead in my cabinet right now.
Damn it. I meant to text you the other day.
For Lord of the Rings Day, we made...
I saw something about mead and I thought of you, and I meant to check in on how are our mead brothers doing?
Yeah. Fairmead is fine. But Barramead, Bormead, I mean... Denethor was right. One of these has really shown its quality.
This is actually kind of devastating that this is the outcome.
I know. I feel bad for Fairmead, but yeah.
Poor Fairmead.
Yeah, but Bormead or Berrymead, he has berries in him. He's better. He's just better.
That
Bolder,
sounds
braver.
Delicious.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring you. I'll see you. I'll see you in 2 days. I'll bring you some Berrymead.
Is it ready to be consumed?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. Should we drink it? Taste test? Make some content out of it? What do you think?
Should we drink an entire bottle of it while talking about the best fights and end the pod with a fight? Because
what would your weapon of choice be? Would you use a jousting, like a tourney lance? Would you use should I bring some of my fictional weapons?
Bring your best Morning Star. Bring
your
mace.
Morning Star. I think not just for our bodily integrity, for the sets, for the new lights, too risky.
Yeah.
A sword, maybe. Maybe we could manage it.
Okay.
I don't think we can be swinging anything above our heads. Just like a downcast swing with the sword. I think we could try it.
I have a lightsaber. That's about all I can bring to the party. And I think you gave it to me. Yes, you did at the Ahsoka premiere.
Our Ahsoka friendship bracelet.
Our matching Ahsoka lightsabers.
I had to explain that to somebody recently, and they were like, yeah, my lightsabers are like famously, she has two of these. Like, why do you only have one? I'm like, well, it's this incredibly touching choice that we made. Like, remember when middle school, when you'd have the thing that said best friends and you broke the little heart in half and each person had one? Well, we did that. But with lightsabers. Ahsoka lightsabers that we won in a raffle at a screening.
And by we mean Mallory. Mallory won it. She bequeathed one to me. Great stuff.
Oh, God. Mead lightsabers. Right, a hedge knight.
I'm putting mead on my packing list right now.
Ooh, I'm excited. I love a mead. This is genuinely thrilling for me. A hedge knight is the truest kind of knight, Dunk, the old man had told him a long, long time ago. Other knights serve the lords who keep them or from whom they hold their lands, but we serve where we will for men whose causes we believe in. Every knight swears to protect the weak and innocent, but we keep the vow best, I think. So this is the other side of that. Other people in the realm might look at you and say, you're a hedge knight? Your pants don't fit? Like, what's going on? Where's your sword belt? But there's something pure,
right?
Potentially, if you choose to embrace that.
If you think about the Kingsguard, who wear like all white and are supposed to be just sort of the purest, like best that is a knighthood, and you think of like how many sons of bitches were on the Kingsguard, and how much absolute bullshittery from the monarchs that they upheld because they had to, because they swore and swore, et cetera, et cetera. Or they wanted to because they're little pieces of shit themselves, like whatever it is. And then you think of Brienne wandering the countryside and fighting for what is genuinely honorable and true. Here we are.
Again, it's not too late to release another video at another Comic-Con where Gwendolyn Christie said something to Dunk. Maybe they're saving that for the end.
It's not too late for Gwendolyn Christie to be like the narrator of, you know what, it would be great if they did it like sort of Masterpiece Theater style, and every week before Dunk and Egg starts, we have Gwendolyn Christie just sitting by a fireside with a book, like being like, next chapter in this tale. It's not too late to film that.
We've got what, 5 weeks? 5 whole weeks?
Easy peasy.
They can re-edit it. Why not? Yeah. Based on the acclaimed novellas by George R.R. Martin. And then we go into 107 to 125 in the trailer. A little stretch centering around the Targaryens and one of our favorite maniacs, the Bright Prince, Aerion Brightflame. To quote Chris Ryan, wait, there's someone named Aerion Targaryen? He's asked us many times in complete shock.
Though I believe Baylor calls him
there's
Arion.
There's a slight different intonation.
It's not Aerion the Targaryen, it's Marion the Librarian, and it's Arion the Targaryen. Yeah.
I was confronting a couple of days ago. I was remembering covering Percy season 1 and really struggling with the idea that it was Thalia in the show instead of Talia, and then rewatched the genuinely abysmal, one of the worst films ever made, Sea of Monsters movie. And it's Talia there. And I'm like, I knew I had a reason to be deeply confused about how they were pronouncing this. But so it goes, you know?
So we have a lot of Targaryens here in this trailer. We've already mentioned like Valar, which you guys are like, who? We've barely seen him. Okay. But Daeron the Targaryen, or Daeron, however they choose to pronounce it, is missing. And let me see how much. I don't know. I'm going to edit this slightly. Our listener, Mikhail, I just really like the subject line of this email, which was missing : one sweet, sad, sodden prince.
Yeah. Well, great. And let's just, for some, if anyone is like, wait, you've already been talking about it. So the king is also Daeron. King Daeron II is the king. You guys might know this about the Targaryens.
They repeat names.
Love to reuse names. So the Daeron that we are now about to talk to is the son of Maekar.
I love everything we've seen from Knight of the Seven Kingdoms so far, but Joanna, the lack of Daeron's objectively the most important character in the story, in my subjective opinion, is agonizing. Give me my blank, blank, blank. Ira Parker, so help me. If someone else takes the blank, I don't know how much of this I could talk about. But anyway, this is a fascinating figure. Again, if they're not giving much of him in the trailer, he's not like a main character in the story, but he is a fascinating character in the story, and I would like to see him. Same. And I'm sad that we haven't seen him. He has been cast.
He's been cast. He's in the show. Yes.
But like we haven't seen him. So I'm with you. I'm with you that I would like to see him. I just don't want to talk too much in detail about him because I don't know. They're being weird about what they're hiding. So let's be weird about what we're hiding too. You know, why not?
Yeah. I don't totally, I mean, I guess it's okay to not put Daeron in either trailer. It's fine. But they definitely, are ways to, for sure.
And Maekar not being there much is also much stranger, I think.
That is it is odd.
Yeah.
I guess it's just we've got two, when we take away all like the word marks and the text cards and the subscribe now, back 30 seconds, we've basically got two trailers that kind of total like 4-ish minutes of stuff they've shown us, but
4 hours of podcasting.
That much room.
4 hours of podcasting, 4 minutes of trailer.
Frankly, we've shown restraint.
I think our producers would agree.
Oh, God. So we do see some of the targs up in Lord Ashford's attorney box there in the stretch. We already talked about what we hear from Dunk next, the perhaps even House Targaryen, some great house may take me into its service. This is when Dunk is watching the Targaryen procession arrive. We get a little little chin nod from Baylor, a little shot here. And then this is when we get our, we talked last trailer about, we did see Valar like in front of his
in his
tent.
armor, yeah,
in in a profile shot. But here we get our first like head-on shot of Valar Targaryen's face. So he is Baelor's eldest son, meaning at this time in the story he's second in line. Baelor's the heir to the Iron Throne. His eldest son Valar is second in line to the Iron Throne. So we see him there. Fun to get a little glimpse. And now it's Raymond time.
No, before we get to Raymond, because we have 2 hours to fill, baby. My Twitter feed was lit up most with people being excited about who is next to Valar, which is Kiara, however you pronounce it. We will find out when they do it. Seastar, which is his wife, and she's Tyrashi, and she has pink hair, and people are really flipping out the fact that we get canonical pink hair on a Tyrashi after we had Dario Naharis not have his blue and purple beard, no Fagon, none of the Tyrashi representation that we really needed. Everyone loves Shiraka Lohar, obviously, in House of the Dragon season 2, so we're all ready to go back to Tyrash. But but I think what people are most freaking out about, so she has this pink hair. Which is not anything that's in the books, but it is in a lot of the popular fan art, and it is in the fan art that's on her wiki page. And so I think what people are most excited about is this idea that fan art of this, let's be honest, very minor character has like made its way into the canon of the TV show. Like that's just a really fun sort of relationship with the fandom. So
delightful.
Pink hair. Love it.
Fantastic. What a time for Wig Watch. What a time to be you. What a time for your algorithm where all of the wig discussion is happening at all times.
Yeah, I guess I know why my Twitter feed was.
This is more of a central part of your experience, I think, based on your wig-related consumption, but it tracks in full. Tracks in full for me. Great stuff. Joanna, let's talk about Raymond. Targaryens, they're incestuous aliens and tyrants. This is, again, we've seen glimpses of him, but this is really his like debut in full here in this stretch of the trailer as like a prominent figure in this season, as somebody we're getting to hear from and see. You mentioned the set the stage with the canonical timeline context of the Blackfire rebellions. I think for that reason,
insane. This
is a wildly bold thing for Raymond to be saying. Now he does. This is, I think, true to the spirit of the book, where he basically goes like, Arian, Darren, Maker, I've got shit to say about all of them. It's like just a really charming. He's just like,
he's a Targaryen shit talker.
Happy to rip him. But that particular like incestuous aliens and tyrants, the wrong person hears that, you're called in for treason.
Absolutely.
This is, I think, a really bold choice for what to show us for Raymond in our first full glimpse of him.
I think it's so interesting, like compared to character specific, like Arion the Targaryen, what a maniac. We all agree, okay? You just have to see him like crushing nuts with a dagger to get like a little bit of a weird vibe off him, right? But incestuous aliens, and that's a little xenophobic of him, but they are absolute weirdos from a different land who brought dragons to Westeros and like fucked their sisters and their nieces and whoever else they could get their hands on.
Have a fair few Targaryens over the years fucked a family member. Yeah. Spot the lie, as the kids say.
But are they
Spot the lie.
Are they absolute weirdos who have dragon fucking tapestries in their castle once upon a time and held the entire realm hostage?
That part's less
with
good,
the use of these fell beasts that they no longer have anymore? No more dragons.
Yep.
How are you going to, maintain your supremacy? I don't know, but eventually we'll have Baratheons on the throne, so...
That's exactly, yeah. And we talked about this last pod, but if anyone's like, why are you guys saying that there are no dragons? That feels like a spoiler. It's not. We opened Game of Thrones with no dragons. That's the foundation for our shared experience entering Westeros, and so that is a known thing. We pair the end tyrants part of it with some very exciting looks at Arian. It's going to take me a while to adjust the pronunciation to match Baylor's. I might wait until we hear a few more characters say it before switching. I never said Otto the way the show wanted me to. So
Otto Hightower.
Who knows if I'll get there with Arian? But before we switch to Arian, on the Raymond front, we were texting a lot about the Podrick Payne coding of Raymond. What would you like to?
This is like my first takeaway. They put him. Yeah. I mean, like the red apple fossil. Like he's from House Fossaway. The red apple is their sigil. Like so, the fact that he's wearing red is not necessarily stunning, but he looks. If you look at that actor, what he looks like when he's not playing Raymond Fossaway, they really they forward combed his bang in a way that just really makes him look like Daniel Portman, the actor who played Podrick Payne, and especially early. Still at King's Landing pod is what he looks like. And so I just think that they are really pod coding him the way that Duncan is in several ways Brienne coded. And I think that makes a lot of sense and is a really, whoever came up with that idea, I think is a good idea. I think it's really smart.
Strongly agree.
Yeah.
Strongly agree.
He's a Squire Raymond Fossaway.
There has never lived a more loyal squire than Pod, and there has never lived a more loyal shit talker than Raymond Fossaway. I'm really hyped for the TV show version
absolute
of Raymond.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, great character, truly. The tyrants paired with Arian, as noted. We then go into Baylor with a warning for Dunk. So Duncan the Tall, Arian would like your head. So the trailer is clearly positioning Arian Brightflame as Dunk's foe. That is made apparent here. And just more broadly than that, establishing Dunk as being deeply mixed up with the royal family in a way that would be surprising to him, right? He felt ill at ease enough around the lords and their pavilions, the book goes. He had no business speaking to princes, and yet here he is.
He's like, my pants don't even fit. What am I doing here? I don't know. I have a question for you about Arion the Targaryen.
Tell me.
If you had to guess, which side of the coin, madness or greatness?
Yeah, well.
Where would you put someone who calls himself Bright Flame and puts a dragon helm on his horse, et cetera, et cetera?
His show design, I think, is excellent, but the book descriptions of him are a degree of
silver curls,
obsessive, beyond this, and the orange and red and yellow, all of it, right? He's leaning in full to the iconography of fire.
Yeah.
This guy's a loon. I do like the hairstyle is giving Nick Holt on the Superman press tour vibes to me.
One of the most important things to happen in 2025, to be honest with you.
Will that be making your top 10 moments of the year pod when we do that in a couple weeks? The Nick Holt press tour. We've never really done things like that.
Superman press tour.
Eligible.
I'd consider it. It was a great showing from all of them. Do I get to include David Cornsweet and Jonathan Bailey singing What a Swell Party This Is from their Variety Actor on Actor series?
You do. I would say we are always very active in sharing Instagram Reels with each other, both of us.
Yeah.
And every so often we share ones with each other that the other person has seen.
Yeah.
It actually happened this weekend. You're like, I know you've seen this, but I just couldn't risk that you hadn't. I had to send it to you. This is the first time in a long time where even though my first thought was, I really want to share this with Joe, I thought, I'm not going to embarrass myself by presuming for a second she has not seen these two gems singing musical numbers together. There is just no way that she needs me to send this to her.
It's one of the best things. David Cornsweet,
so
I already knew that. I knew that he was a musical kid. I've seen clips of him younger, in musicals and stuff like that. He was part of anyway, whatever. I'm getting off topic. Point being, put him in a musical immediately, if not sooner. They've been dragging their heels on making this Guys and Dolls movie they were going to make years ago with Channing Tatum and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Put David Cornsweet in Guys and Dolls immediately. He was already doing his Frank Sinatra impression when he was doing What a Swell Party This Is. So, give it to me. Sky or Nathan, I don't care. Put him in Guys and Dolls. I would watch it.
I'm in. Sign me up immediately.
Johnny Bailey as Nathan Detroit. David Cornsweet as Guy Masterson. Done. Okay, moving on. You're welcome, Hollywood. You're welcome.
These, again, you're just giving these ideas away for free.
Absolutely free.
Oh, God. The Bright Prince, Arian, he is King Darren's grandson, Maker's second son. Darren is Maker's eldest son. Mm-hmm. So he is Baelor's nephew. Here's what Ira Parker had to say to Den of Geek about capturing the Bright Prince. Quote, "The biggest challenge with Arian is that we don't dig too deep into his psyche as to why he is like this. And I think that's important. There are a lot of villain backstories in general across the film and television spectrum that I'm just getting a little sick of. It's becoming a little cookie cutter. Arian is almost unreadable at points. You think he's having fun with it, then you think it's a personality defect or maybe his father. He's mysterious. It could go so many different ways. Curious to the extent that you can speak freely here outside of the spoiler section. How does that strike you? Like, how mysterious do you want? How unknowable do you want Arian to be in terms of like what is driving him, and how much are you like? I want to really delve into this with this character.
I'm kind of into it, and I think this is great. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what they do here with him, with good old Arion, the Targaryen. And I think
you've adjusted much faster than I have to that potential pronunciation.
The more I say it, like the easier it'll be. I think Finn Bennett, an actor we both really loved in True Detective, Black Doves, et cetera, et cetera. There are things he's already doing just in these trailer shots that just feel really fun. I just loved an unhinged Targaryen.
Same.
I don't need to know what their motivation is. Their motivation is, I don't know, millennia of inbreeding or something like that. I have no idea. But I don't need to go all the way in. I like that we're staying in Dunk's POV. And I'm excited. This is a great character. I'm excited for us to spend time.
He is a fantastic character. There are some aspects of what drive him that I really would like to.
I know what you're talking about.
At some point, but yeah, I don't know how they'll navigate just all of the Arian in season 1. But I can't wait to find out. It's a great performer, great character. They're gonna have some fun with it. The next stretch of the trailer, 126 to 139, is Dunk's like we're testing our guy here. Dunk's test. Shots of Duncan holding a dead face in his hands in the rain. Joanna, what do you think is happening here? Tell me.
Okay. So there's a couple options.
Yeah.
1, is this a dream? Could be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
2.
Yeah.
And it's the question I'm always asking myself, is this a puppet? Here's the theory. We've seen
incredible. We've seen that you're always asking yourself. Yeah.
We've seen that the puppet shows in this show will be much larger in scale than the puppet shows are in the book. We saw a large dragon puppet in the earlier trailer. So are the human puppets closer in size to this? And there is a point in the story when puppets get broken. So is this part of a broken puppet? And is this specifically,
I like this a lot,
a broken Florian puppet? And if it is a broken Florian puppet, because he's got this frilled collar and this it's not quite Florian, who I'm about to talk about in a second, is a fool, whereas Motley is this sort of like a take on that, the frilled collar. He's got the helm, but also this like sort of clownish collar to him. Yeah. And Florian the Fool, you might have heard Sansa talk about him. You might have heard Sandor Clegane talk about him. Yep. Like he's an important figure in Game of Thrones, but he's one that Dunk specifically thinks about a lot. Yes. And here's a passage from the book.
I love this passage.
He thought back on all the songs he had heard, songs of blind Simeon Star Eyes and noble Serwyn of the Mirror Shield and Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, Sir Ryan Redwine and Florian the Fool. They had all won victories against foes far more terrible than any he would face, but they were great heroes, brave men of noble birth, except for Florian. And what am I? Dunk of Fleabottom or Sir Duncan the Tall? So like this idea of like Duncan all else that might be happening contextually inside of a space where we might have a broken puppet. What does it mean? What does it mean for Duncan to be looking at Florian specifically and thinking about this lowborn knight as a comp for himself? And am I just a fool, right? Inside of all of this, inside of these noble knights,
all men are knights and all men are fools. Yeah.
And I think that, like, you know, something that Ira Parker said about Duncan, quote, and I believe this is an earlier piece, maybe in the Variety piece. I put a lot of myself into him. He's treading in the strange world. He's from the ass-end shithole of Westeros, the slums of Westeros, of King's Landing. He doesn't know anyone. He doesn't know anything. So Ira Parker's like, it me, right? But this idea, you know, you see a man regarding a skull. You have to think about Hamlet. And,
sure, of course.
And who is Yorick inside of Hamlet? He's the fool. He's the dead fool. And this is Hamlet regarding the skull of a fool that he once knew, a clown that he once knew, regarding his own mortality, regarding what we all become. We all become skulls in the end, et cetera. And so for Duncan, inside of this space where he has put himself in a position where he has put his life on the line. There's a maniac Targaryen who has his eyes on him, like all this sort of stuff like that. This moment of contemplation of his own mortality in a Shakespearean space is really has high potential for me. So that is I
love it.
Theory of what we're looking
at. Puppet
here.
theory is just elite. This is elite stuff from you.
You know I love a puppet. So
I feel like this is probably right.
I don't know.
It was a very waxy looking face. Maybe just that's what you look like when you're dead, but
whether or not it depends how deep they bury you. Whether or not it's Florian, I don't know. But I do think it's a puppet. Yeah.
That's great. Genuinely one of my favorite lines. That passage you just read is one of my favorite passages, and one of my favorite single lines in the first novella is the last line of that or the next line after what you just read, which he supposed he would learn the truth of that soon enough. Like this idea that you were a part of this great story, but your own story, and you were trying to like determine your fate, but also this aspect of finding out, like you have to go through the events of your own life to be able to discover who you are.
Would you say it's like the same story and the great stories never end? Would you say something like that? That they just go on and we're all part of it? Wow. Interesting.
It's like we're in the Great Tale still?
Wow.
I would say exactly that.
Weird.
It's almost like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings are in conversation with each other.
Interesting.
But what was Aragorn's tax policy?
And did he kill the little orc babies in their little orc cradles? It's a good question to ask yourself.
This is my favorite. This is how I know we're back. I always love when we get to do that. Oh man, puppet theory it's just iconic stuff from you. You're the best. There's only one you. It's incredible. You had something good coming, but that was
it's when I wouldn't tell you before we started. I should say like this is going around. Like I didn't come up with it, but I do believe that it is absolutely true. And
puppets on the mind always.
I zoomed in on that face and it looks pretty waxy cracked sort of thing. But it could be a dream. And it would be interesting to have dream spaces inside of this show. So
for sure. And it does, so in this stretch, there's a Dunk looking up seemingly in response to a line that we hear, come out, little knight, and the face is in his hand as he looks up. So that
honestly fits with puppet theory to me.
That
in terms
definitely,
of,
yes, I think it could fit with dream
theory,
but feels like another bit of good fodder for puppet theory. We hear in the stretch too, Dunk say, maybe the gods figured this is what I deserve. And I love this too about Dunk. This will be really central to watching his journey. Like he's a character who is seeking to change something, right? About his own circumstances, about his own life. But he's also always like, well, what did I do before?
Yeah.
You know, what's going to catch me when? What role do my own choices play? And what is fated for me?
Are the gods upset that I put Sir Arlen in 4 inches of dirt? It's a question.
The soil was soft.
Softened by the rain.
Could have gone deeper.
Could have.
That's all.
That's
and then
what she said.
Could have gone deeper. Well, they don't call him Sir Duncan the Doll for nothing. Is that why puppets are always on your mind? Because of your favorite quote from the first novella? For puppets. This is the best. This is the best. Genuinely incredible stuff. We we get this recurrence.
Can I just say really quickly,
please.
this is not
back to puppet corner.
This is not kind, but I will say this. Kind of clown corner.
Oh, exciting.
Because I'm on their mailing list twice a week, I get a new, hey, you've got a new screener from HBO. And the way the subject line is, it doesn't say what it is in the subject line. I have to click through to find out what it is. And every single time it's welcome to dairy, and it's never nice. I'm like, do we have our screeners yet?
Yeah.
We don't, but I have a lot of welcome to dairy screeners that I don't want. So, here we are.
That show's too scary for me.
I know. I watched Weapons, and I told you I don't think you can do it.
No. Adam was like, baby, it'll be fine. I'm like, I don't
think you can do it.
I don't think so.
You can do a lot of things.
Thank you. But not that.
But not that.
But not that. And that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
This idea returns from Baylor. This is he's asking this another time. This is a separate moment, but the recurrence of this question, this key question for Dunk. And so I ask you again, how good a knight are you? We get another, much like we got in the first trailer, very cool look at Arian lowering the dragon helm. And then Dunk meets Baylor's eye here. And it is just a completely different vibe from the way he responded to hearing that query from Baylor Breakspear the first time. So we can feel that circumstances have changed. Mm-hmm. Good trailer.
It's great. A character on an arc within just a few seconds. All it took was an encounter with a puppet to change him forever. So here we go.
Puppets.
Puppets.
And then we get this final stretch of the trailer here from 140 to 214 before just the kind of subscribe end beats. We get a little bit of the classic Thronesian theme mixing in here with this new score. I thought this was, again, very smart.
It was very smart. It was interesting because they leaned so heavily on this other musical style in the first trailer. So it was really interesting to hear the Thrones theme come in.
And outright said the first time around with that first round of press,
Ramin's not invited to this party.
We're not doing the opening credits that you're used to. This is a different thing. So this felt almost like a deliberate, okay, but it is in the
still
universe. It's still Thrones. Let's not go too far. Let's not overcorrect too substantially.
Far from the throne, but the throne still exists. Okay.
Spring is coming.
This winter. For puppets. Spring is coming this winter for puppets.
I mean, I think we could run a marketing campaign for one of these shows.
Yeah.
It's all right here.
Yeah.
Dunk entering the field, armor on, face very intense. And our guy Raymond is here. And he says, you may be wise to run. And Dunk says, won't they kill me if I run? And Raymond says, won't they kill you anyway?
Cheeky. Love it.
Dunk leading Thunder forward. Arian riding his horse, Arian lowering the helm. We do get a little bit of the puppet show. We get our big dragon puppet here again. Some mirror shield action, wonderful stuff always. What did you make of all of this?
Loved it.
Just fantastic.
Once again, I think Arian's an absolute maniac to put that giant heavy metal dragon helm on his horse's head. Can your horse see? I don't know, but yeah.
Maybe if you were talking to his horse more, he'd be able to ask.
Yeah. Do you think Duncan talks to all the horses, to Thunder as well, or is it just Sweetfoot?
I think he talks to Thunder most of all.
Thunder
most of all, for sure. Because Thunder is the horse that he's going to be riding out, charging into the field on, and so that bond is supreme. But he's got a tender place in his heart for Sweetfoot as well, for Chestnut. This guy loves a horse. Loves a horse.
Real horse guy. Loves a horse. Loves a puppet.
Loves a horse.
Loves a sandwich.
I really hope it's a sandwich. That would be great. I hope they're getting some protein. And then we get this very intense moment. Dunk addressing the assembled in the viewing gallery at Ashford Tourney. Has honor deserted the noble houses of Westeros? Are there no true knights among you? A lot of action mixed in with this line. We get Dunk pulling a shield. We get Arian and his Morningstar. We get bees. We get the Humphreys bees and Harding. We get to see Lord Ashford's daughter, who's named.
Will she have a name on her name day?
It's her name day.
George R. R. Martin gave her her name. Will Ira Parker give her her name? We don't know. She does have little suns on her sleeve on her dress, which is that's the Ashford sigil. If you see suns anywhere, that's Yeah, Ashford's just, making their sigil known. But yeah, I like her little gown. It's very cute.
Yeah. As I mentioned last pod, the Ashford, the orange and the white, it's giving me McLaren, it's giving me Syracuse, it's giving me Orioles. I'm in on the
all right.
on the Ashford
I'll give you
sigils.
that. I'll give you that. Raymond Fossaway, we're gonna have to fight, but I'll give you the Ashfords.
I'll be prepared to battle for Raymond.
Okay.
We see Dunk running, turning Lance out. We see 2 knights clad in black fighting. We see a Targaryen sigil on a shield. We see more battle shots, some recognizable helms in the mix here. You could kind of decide how deeply you want to look at this. And that appeal to the crowd that Dunk is making, all of the particulars that lead to the moment will become clear over the course of the show. But the thing that is apparent here, once again, is that this idea of what makes a knight is central and that it feels rare, the idea of a true knight and the idea of heeding honor.
And it feels connected to what makes a Targaryen, right? Like the noble houses of Westeros, like this idea of nobility in all of its meanings. And what is a Targaryen? Is a Targaryen a bully, a maniac, or is a Targaryen something else?
My single favorite,
we'll see.
It's quiet. My favorite, quiet, small detail in the trailer is just the awkward cough that greets Dunk's appeal to the masses. Great little thing. And then, we get a little bit of trailer editing where we're cutting to Dunk saying, "Was that ill-handled to Egg?" And he's like, right. Yeah, which...
It's really good. Really funny.
Very, very charming, sweet little note to end on, even though it is presumably another moment.
It's a different time of day, a different day entirely, obviously. Yes. But yeah, it's great stuff.
And that's it. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, January 18th. Anything else before we get to book corner?
No.
That you want to hit
flee,
in this section?
Run, as Raymond Fossaway would tell you.
Run,
get the fuck out of here. You may be wise to run. Spoilers are coming.
Are you still here? Did you go? Did the sirens sound
I'm gonna start
in your
soft.
car, in your earpods? Yeah.
I'm going to start soft with this.
Let's lean in.
I just really want to say, season 2 hair watch.
Tell me.
Dexter shaved his hair again. Great.
Yes.
He had a little mohawk and they shaved it off. Very cute.
Dunk has the long hair now.
Peter with the long hair.
I love it.
I love it to show the passage of time.
Yeah.
I love the long hair. I think this is great. Also, I should have said this in the short hair section, the non-spoiler section. Do you think everyone in House of the Dragon who has to spend so much time in the fucking wig chair is pissed?
Outraged.
That everyone on this show has their natural hair? I don't know. But
it's yet another good way, I think, to just
distinguish
with visual
between
shorthand, just say this is it's a little bit different. Yeah. Different time period, different
modern
characters,
hip,
different moment.
Modern hip Targaryens. Yeah.
When do you think, this also definitely did not need to be in the spoiler section, but when do you think we're going to start getting more casting news for season 2 if they're already making it? When are we going to find out who Sir Bennis is played by? It could be any minute now, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it's already out there somewhere in the dark web. I haven't gone looking.
Spoilers. Okay, so Egg's identity remains a mystery. They're still not saying this. I guess
this is the big one. If you're still here, it's your fault. I don't know. We gave you a soft little run up. Here we go.
I guess I didn't. It was so clear that this was a real choice that they had made based on the New York Comic Con panel and the first trailer and everything that I'm not actually surprised this didn't change. But there was a tiny part of me that was like, maybe they'll just decide to tell everyone who Egg is. The Hollywood Reporter article about the panel, about the
says it.
CCXP, in the lead of the article is just Egg on the 5th. Egg on
future
Targaryen.
king of, this is a Targaryen. So what makes a Targaryen? Egg is a Targaryen. He shaved his telltale silver hair, but he is a Targaryen. But yeah, you could teach me this idea of what Sir Duncan teaches Egg about being a leader of men, what this experience teaches Egg about what it means to be a Targaryen king, looking at Baelor as a model here. This idea of the first 3 episodes, I wonder how much it'll be split up by this weather pattern. We're seeing, we see the bright greens and then we see the misty, the first
and
3,
clearly some of the tourney is at night too. So we're
right.
Yeah.
So the first 3 episodes seem like they could just be really sweet. You know what I mean? Up until the puppet massacre. Up until death to puppets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I think we're going to get like one half of the season feeling like one thing and the other half feeling like something else. So.
I agree. It feels like the mid-season mark is Egg revealing who he is after
puppet stuff.
Puppet stuff go. Then episode 4 is the hunt for champions. I mean, one of the things that George just basically, he just tweeted it out, basically just said at the New York Comic Con panel when we talked about this last pod was episode 5 is the big one. So that's going to be the trial of 7. And then he said that episode 6 is more like a coda, which I think feels very exciting and is really appropriate. But so it's quite easy to see, I think, how the episodes will break across the season. Mm-hmm. And that means, midway is when we learn who Egg is, I think.
So we'll have to keep our trap shut for like 2 weeks, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like not ideal, I gotta say.
Well, we'll have book spoiler sections, so, we'll talk about it there.
It's just such a clear way to market the show.
But it's also just like everyone, I feel so
before
dumb
they were
following
the king and
I feel so dumb following these rules because everyone else is not going to be following them. So like
I know, but then people get mad and it's like I think if I don't understand why the show team and the marketing team have decided to do this. I don't understand that. I think positioning the show as like before they were king and Lord Commander, they were Dunk and Egg is like how people come to the novellas. Like that's like I don't understand not positioning it that way.
He burned his entire family alive. He was a cute kid.
Once before the tragedy at Summer Hall, he just wanted to sit and have a sandwich against the trunk of a tree. God damn it. He learned to be a squire. And then Darren was like, sorry, dude. And he's like, well, got a squire for someone.
You can teach me. All right.
But because they have made this decision, I think we have to then protect the people who are coming to the show not knowing it. So it's not ideal, but here we are.
All right. Trial of 7.
Yeah. Anything on this front that, we talked about this a ton last pod.
In
what do you want to say
of like sigil spotting, armor spotting and stuff like that, we did see Valar in his armor in the first trailer. So, and his armor is very distinct. This is like ridged armor.
Yes.
And that is what Baelor Breakspear is wearing in the tourney. He's wearing Valar's armor. So if you're spotting, you're like, antlers, got it. Yeah. Slit in the visor, got it. And then like these weird ridge armor that is definitely Baelor Targaryen.
Yes. Yeah. And I think in the wide shot of the 7, just the all clad in black, it's easy enough to spot it. But the ridges are really crucial for some of the other action shots because I think at 159, it's like, oh, we are seeing Maekar and Baelor charging at each other. And that is, presumably the moment that precedes the fateful strike. So you can tell from the ridges there. That armor's also really cool.
It is sick.
I like that it's like simultaneously really distinct and specific, but like to the extent that all black dragon armor can be like kind of muted
demure.
And chill.
Yeah.
It's like
very
just
mindful. Yeah. Raymond Fossaway.
Exactly, very mindful.
Raymond Fossaway. Thank you. I get
Great
my
stuff.
TikTok 6 months later on Instagram Reels. Okay. Raymond Fossaway.
Same when you send them to me.
Raymond Fossaway.
Yeah.
Green Apple Fossaway.
Yes.
This is why it's preposterous for you to try to claim him. Mallory.
No,
please.
Because
you think
he's a great character.
I don't care. That means he's Team Green and you don't get to have him.
I refuse.
You get
to
you get
Stefan
all.
is not for me. No,
you get all the red apples. You get you get the pink ladies. No. You get the galaxies. You get the whatever they're called.
I'm really on a sugar bee.
You get all of them. Yeah, you get all of them. I get green apple. I get green apples. I get Granny Smith's 1 apple.
Yeah,
and I get Raymond Fossaway.
As you know, green is my favorite color, and it's never been about and he's making this his sigil. He never says a green apple tastes better.
He says a green apple is better.
Never says that's going to...
says better morally.
It is maybe better morally. Well, I refuse to claim Stefan. I won't do it.
He's yours.
I absolutely won't do it.
You have a red apple on your skin, tattooed on you. You have to take Raymond.
It's got a little touch of green. We've both had plenty of moments where we're like, oh, that character who's a monster is eating the apple of my chosen varietal.
I claim them all. I'll claim them all. I'll claim Draco Malfoy eating green apple.
I was going to say all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You do love Draco.
I love Draco.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me in the Apple Wars it is, but I love Rubin and I won't pretend I don't.
You can love him, but you don't get to have him. That's all I'm going to say. Okay.
On the like, oh, this is your sigil or this is what you're wearing front yet again. And no surprise for the reasons we talked about last time, but they're not showing us the other side in the Trial of Seven because I guess they can't show us all the Kingsguard.
Yeah.
So.
This is the more interesting lineup anyway, you know?
No question. No question. Anything else on the Baelor front? I mean, obviously when we see Valar, he's in front of his father's funeral pyre, so that's sad. No question.
I think this question of like the future of House Targaryen, this choice that Baelor makes because I can't remember if we talked about this last trailer, but the idea that like Baelor saves Duncan and then Duncan will later save Rhaegar.
Yep. And
Rhaegar, spoiler, gives birth to both Jon and Daenerys, the Song of Ice and Fire. It's like, for want of a nail, the kingdom was lost. Like this is it feels like a small stakes moment. This hedge knight and what happens to him and what this heir to the throne decides to give up. Valar's like, why is it got to be you and not my dad who is much cooler than you? Fucking Duncan. I mean, your pants don't fit. You know?
Yeah.
But the ripples into history, you know?
This is one of the reasons that Baelor's like a character I love so much is because his role in the flow of events is seismic. And like the fact that he makes this choice, that it is so driven not only by logic, like that my brother erred when he put the Kingsguard on his side because I am a prince of the blood. Like there's this very clear, like rational, here's how we can beat them tactical side of it. But then it's just like, you did the right thing. You defended the weak and the innocent, and I will stand with you. There's that aspect of it. And then like, obviously there's just the horror of, everything with that's just everything that happens. It's just so indelible and memorable as a stretch of the story. But like, I love that sequence of events it sets into motion, to your point. And obviously a lot of things have to happen after Baelor to get to Egg. I mean, the fourth son of a fourth son, it's like, it was never supposed to happen, but this is how ripples work. This is how dominoes work, right? One falls so that all the others can.
This is how venereal diseases work, unfortunately.
Well, in Westeros, most of all, indeed. But so like when you have that Valar line, like my father was only 9 and 30, he had it in him to be a great king, which like many people would have agreed with. The greatest since Aegon the Dragon. Why would the gods take him and leave you? You have that, but the thing I always have loved, which is just brutal, and like then you have that great Maekar
Bernie Carvel's
exchange.
48. Just saying, it's a hard 39 is what we're showing here.
Listen, as a fellow 39-year-old who's rocking a fair bit of gray hair and wrinkles, I get it. I get it. But then you have like, you have that great moment with Maekar and Dunk where like Maekar's like, I know what people will say about me forever now. I know what they will say. And Dunk's like, yeah, well, like me too. And he's like, yeah. You too, right? So there's that part of it. But then also like you have this thing, this painful, terrible thing that Valar, and we understand why, but that he says to Dunk, but it's not like Dunk's like, what do you mean? Or how could you say that? Dunk is thinking the same exact thing. And I just love that part of it. So to your point, playing out the string all the way to Summerhall and then beyond, when Dunk is like at the end of this first novella, sometimes I sit under that tree there and I look at my feet and I ask, couldn't I have spared one? How could my foot be worth a prince's life? And then he's like, maybe one day like the realm will need that foot. It's like, look at all the things he's going to do, all the consequential things he's going to do.
He probably couldn't have hopped Rhaegar out of that room.
Had to like punt him, Had to drop kick him. You think that's what will be revealed in time?
Yes. And that's why Rhaegar made such tough decisions.
Oh, God.
Drop kicked as a babe.
Let's see. Anything else about Baelor? Anything else about Aerion? Okay, so I guess like we kind of like very gently poked at this, but I guess like, do you think that this means they're not going to do any of the like he thinks he's a dragon in human form stuff at all? Or do you think they're going to like put that out there as a aspect of him without necessarily going deeply into what led him to that belief or that point, other than all of the Targaryen aspects of?
I think we've seen enough maniac Targaryens, with Viserys, as in Daenerys's brother Viserys, et cetera, that like, I don't think it'll be a stretch for us to understand what's going on here.
No, yeah, I think it can be, it can be like pretty modestly deployed and still really effective. There's a part of me that would love, especially given everything you were saying earlier about like, where do the Targaryens find themselves at this aspect of the history of the realm? I have been excited, I think, to like lean more into the choices, the way Aerion sees himself and the choices he makes, because all of it is, of course, a bridge to like the decisions Egg will eventually make.
It reminds me of Daemon versus Viserys, his brother Viserys. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like this idea of like, I'm going to get real pagan with it and go like old dragon lore and marry my niece with, you know, blood on our faces and stuff like that. So like this idea that like that Baelor Breakspear could be the heir to the throne and not look at all like a Targaryen. I could see like spinning Aerion into like, I'm going to be the dragoniest dragon mother. In fact, I am a dragon. Do you know what I mean? Like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
In a way.
I'm really interested in learning more about him, but I think that the choice they're making is a reasonable one. Mm-hmm. And who knows? Maybe that's just a thing you say at the beginning of the season too. We'll see. We talked about this a lot last pod. Obviously, this is something we're going to hit in detail throughout the season and throughout covering this entire show. This like question of a thing we and basically every other reader of these stories and member of the fandom believe in our soul and know to be true, which is that Dunk was never properly knighted, and that's why we have. Maybe one day we actually will go through just all of the evidence is so robust. We don't have time to do it now. The red ears, all of it. The like my favorite quote example is always he knew what it was like to want something so badly that you would tell a monstrous lie just to get near it. And then, of course, like the great bit of evidence is always when Raymond's like, knight me, and Dunk's like, but, I love when we build toward in the trial, Dunk is just like, the ring mail's been driven into him and he's been hitting it and he's on the ground, he's battered and bloodied, and he's like, Dunk the Lunk thought he could be a knight. It kills me. So like,
I'm interested to see, you don't have to give us those words. I'm interested to see if we're so inside Dunk's head the whole time, like how are we going to get these thought moments that he has? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, also what will be made explicit. Like, so obviously it's very different because House of the Dragon, as we've talked about many times in covering that show, it's adapting a fictional history, and though there is so much room for them to not just expand and explore, but just do stuff that we had no reason to expect was coming.
We already saw one tactic, which is he's going to be talking to his horses, so that can do some of the internal monologue work.
Yeah.
But
what will he say to the puppet when he holds it in his hand?
But is he going to say Dunk the Lunk thought he could be a knight to thunder on the battlefield? No, probably not. So I don't know what they're going to do there.
Probably not. And how much like of the like, wait, are we sure this guy is like, is he a knight? Like, he's not going to say this to anyone in this season of TV. So like, how will they be conveying that? Will it be through the blushing and the awkward kind of like but if he's always anxious in those rooms anyway. So how clear will that be to viewers?
I think
compared to maybe how apparent it is to readers.
You say that how apparent it is to readers, but there's still people who debate it because it's not explicitly stated in the books. So there's still plenty of readers who are like, what do you mean he's not, so like, I don't think it needs to be that obvious since it's like somewhat, they're not very subtle in the books,
Right.
So
it's one of those, I'm just more curious in general, I think, given that like it's such a faithful adaptation, like what is different actually?
Yeah.
In general.
Well, yeah. Something that Ira Parker has said is that, it's super faithful, but they're planning to like flesh out some of the side characters, right? So they're not making any like major changes. We're not changing the lineup of the trial by 7. We're not doing any of that. Yes, part of Baelor's head is gonna fall off, like all this sort of stuff like that. But yes, the puppets are bigger. But like, will we get to know Tenzel Too Tall a little bit better, or the Laughing Storm a little bit better?
Yes.
Beesbury. Give me a bees episode. Why not? We deserve it.
Let's do an entire bees episode before he bleeds out from the groin.
Yeah. It's just buzzing the whole episode.
Oh, bees. I do think one of the things that the trailers have done, I remain on the Darren front quickly. I do remain like, I don't know why you could just show us Darren like drunk in the inn or something. Yeah. Like, you don't have to have him say, I dreamed of you. in the trailer. So I also think you could do
That'd
that.
be
It would be
great
super
trailer line.
tantalizing. Yeah.
A great trailer line.
So I am a little worried about the absence of Darren in the trailers. We talked about this last trailer pod through the lens of like the comments about there's no magic.
Yeah.
And I was like, you very kindly and gently pulled me out of what was like real-time tailspin where I was like, are they not going to do the Dragon Dream stuff?
Right.
I remain like this is like one of my biggest concerns, actually. I'm like 99% on the hype meter, but I'm like, are they changing something pretty big here? I would be really crushed about that. There's no way. They're just not showing it to us, right?
0%. 0%.
Yeah, okay. Good. Thank you. I needed you to walk me off the ledge again. I got scared.
Ira has made like such a fan out of George that there is just no way that he's changing something that foundational.
It would be impossible, right? Yeah. Okay.
No way.
All right. I think one of the best things they've done in the trailers so far, this like even House Targaryen could take me setup, knowing that we are heading toward Dunk being like, dragonflies are dragons. Maekar is telling me to come to Summerhall, and I'm going to say no.
Summerhall, don't like the sound of that place. I'm going to skip it.
What's your fire insurance policy?
You have asbestos in the walls of Summerhall. What's that like?
It's just, I love that moment at the end when like this thing that he has wanted is on offer to him at last. And he's like, at least for now, for now, we need, if you want me to take Egg as my squire, I will, but I'm going to give him a different experience than what your other sons. Is that really what you want? For him to go back to those halls?
I got ladies to fuck, I got things to do.
I've got pants to hem. Ladies to fuck and puppets to hold in my hands.
My dearest darling, there's no letting out the hem anymore in those pants. We need new pants.
New pants entirely?
Yeah, long hair, new pants, season 2. That's the aim.
Wow, you're already working ahead on the log lines. Look at you.
Yeah, long hair, new pants.
I'm in. All right, anything else?
I think we did it.
Great. I can't wait for the show. I'm so really excited to watch it. So excited to cover it with you. I'm just like thrilled.
Me too.
Genuinely thrilled. Okay, we did it. That's all for today. Thank you to our assembled knights today. Carlos Chiriboga, as always. John Jones stepping in today on the edit. I'm sure when they were like, can you edit a trailer pod? He was like, that's like probably like a 30-minute pod, right? No problem.
Easy breezy.
Thanks, John. We appreciate you. Arjuna Ramgopowell, as always, and Jomi Adeniran on the social. As always, we will see you in a few days. Again, there's some travel. There's a loaded pre-holiday slate for everyone. Some of this might change a bit, but at some point over the coming days, we will see you for Best of the Century so far. Fights.
Yeah.
Double Percy Jackson season 2 premiere. Before long, we'll be doing our top 10 moments of the year pod, a House of R annual tradition. Best of the Rest for the Best of the Century project.
Gift swap
For Avatar Fire and Ash, Interview with the Vampire season 2. For me, just a pure joy. For you, half
torture.
Pure joy, half act of abject torment.
I had a real hard time with Way of Water. I'll tell you that much right now.
I'd say, as you know, my relationship to those movies is not actually, I think these are like purely great. It's a little bit different.
I had friends over. We watched Avatar Way of Water. We chased it with Master and Commander. And then we finished up the night with Hunt for the Red October. It was a real good, ocean themed evening. So,
you love an ocean vista. I know this about you.
I do.
And Joe, before long, Stranger Things season 5, volume 2, and volume 3.
Wow.
It's a nice restful holiday month for us.
Peaceful, easy breezy. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.